an example of what's happening, especially in the United States and globally.
Let me give you politically. It wasn't so long ago that your people knew us. And why did you know us? If you look at the American Constitution, the Constitution doesn't come from France, which they say, oh yes, the concept of the Republic came from France and that was that type of stuff, right? No. Thomas Jefferson and Franklin both sat at Onondaga when the Great Law was being spoken. And it's spoken, the Great Law is spoken every year. And so this year it's in Onondaga again. And
What's Onondaga?
It's a place up near Syracuse, a reserve. And so it's spoken again this year there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it takes 12 days to do it. And Jefferson and Franklin both stayed there for 12 days and listened to it being recited.
Absolutely.
And Franklin, being the great plagiarist that he was, just took whole sections of the Great Law and put it straight into the Constitution. So that section that says "we the people," whatever, I don't know it that well, but that comes directly from us.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until 1973 that the Senate actually recognized that the American Constitution comes from the Haudenosaunee.
The 1973 bill.
Okay.
That's great.
The other side that gets the same thing is Karl Marx. So if you look in Das Kapital, in the footnote you'll find he talks about the Haudenosaunee. He spells it wrong. He's from here.
How do you spell it?
H-A-U-D-E-N-O-S-A-U-N-E-E. Haudenosaunee. Okay, so you know us as the Iroquois. So Marx looks at this and he says in the footnotes that in North America there is a primitive society that practices primal communism, the purest form of the communistic thought and how it works.
Right.
And that the Haudenosaunee, through the Great Law, exemplify this. So my grandfather used to say we gave the world the two greatest forms of government, we buggered them both up. So,
Yeah.
That's awesome point.
It's kind of like what you were saying on the way up here about how ethical societies can only exist in small groups, but when you try to bring that out to like a 350 million population, the system always becomes corrupted.
Well, and that's just, the Haudenosaunee knew this.
Yeah.
Because we had something like
right.
10 to 15 million people living under the Haudenosaunee. So what did you do? Well, you divide them up into nations.
Yeah.
So you have 6 nations.
Divide and
Oh,
conquer.
but you still can't do it with that many people. So now you divide them up into clans.
Right.
So now I'm Seneca Turtle Clan. Oh, Turtle Clan is pretty big.
Yeah.
So now we divide it to families.
You go down
But
to
how do you divide it to families? You don't do it through the male line. You do it through a female line, which are used to cooperating together. So now we have female lines that run our families.
And what do we have here? A patriarchal system that's subverted that.
Yeah. And as one person said to me, well, that makes you like a henpecked man. No. It gives me a responsibility and authority that's
in your
embedded
area.
In my area.
Right. And they
but we
have the same for their area.
And so what we say is I carry a bundle of words that I can talk to you about this, right? I can talk to you about that. But I can't talk to you about women's issues. I can't talk about water and water ceremonies because that's not my place. And if I were, I'd get into trouble for it. So somebody said, well, you can't talk about that? Oh, that's cutting back on your freedoms. No,
But you're willing.
I'm willing to
do
take that.
Yeah.
Because my responsibilities are enhanced.
What it is the Creator has given us organization. Easily organized.
A natural
organization, which is seated in your culture, seated in various.
And it's manifested every day. So you can go out and look at birds, you can look at the animals, the trees, everything.
Right.
And there's the order.
Right.
And as my grandfather used to say, we just have to be smart enough to see it.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening is that we're following a different order that's actually like an antimatter.
Well, the interesting thing you'll like about this is that opening address. Now, is that an opening or is it a prayer? Okay. Somebody would say, oh, it's a prayer. And right now, that opening address is before the Supreme Court in the United States because at a school in upstate New York, it was done every morning as the opening because most of our kids go there.
Right.
And so they said, oh, can't do that. That's a prayer. Can't have prayer.
Right,
Mixed
right.
church and state.
Right.
So they wanted to exclude it, and it was taken to court. And I think the first lower court said, "Yep, you're right. Can't do it." It's going further. When, in fact, I gather it's up to Supreme Court now.
Well,
But what was interesting was, and here's where my hope comes in. The next day that the court case was said they can't do it for the whole school, it would no longer be put over to the PA. The principal said, "We'll do it, but we'll do it in a room. You know, you can go off to this room. All of the Native students that want to do opening in the morning can go to that room, or anybody else that wants to do it." They had to hold it in the gym because everybody went,
Wow.
including the
Yeah.
including the principal. So, you know, what is this?
What's the point of the rule? What's
Yeah.
the point of the rule?
What is this support of atheism? Just science. I mean, it's like this false order is trying to bypass our connection with
Our
the
natural
Creator.
order. And like I said,
And has
my
to-
dependence is upon you. Like when I get to the end and I say, I might forget something, right? I look to you then to send greetings and thank yous to that because we don't want to leave anything. Well, right away, what you've done is you've been inclusive. You haven't been standing in a pulpit telling people what they're to believe.
Right.
You're saying, here's what I believe. Now, I need you to do something for me too.
This simple knowledge is like there's no reference. We're losing the reference. It's getting
And so, like I said,
it's getting endangered.
yeah.